today is all about the new books I have procured. The first one, Diabetic Cookery. Now, I'm not a diabetic, so why would I need Diabetic Cookery? Well, I'm glad you asked. I am doing the ketogenic diet program, and this means no carbs. And a diabetic diet is, in fact, low carb. Okay? So, the book is by Rebecca W. Oppenheimer. It was written in 1917. Now, many of you might want to comment that, what's the use of an old cookbook? Well, actually, how did they solve problems back then when diabetes was fairly rare, which it was, and when diabetic type 1s died? So as you can see, there is a need for a diet, for a program, for recipes that keep the carbs as low as possible, because you don't want to tax the delicate, fragile system of people with diabetes. And just feeding them the standard American diet is not going to do that. So, they used real food back then. Very little in the way of processed food was available. Crisco. But then you can't use Crisco and Wesson and things like this anyway. That's been found to be unhealthy in the extreme. Just throw that stuff out, darling. Anyway. So now we have all these recipes with almonds, eggs, vanilla, and saccharin. Yes, they had artificial sweeteners back then. But still, we always substitute the stevia or the erythritol or something, whatever, Splenda, whatever happens to go with your particular digestive system. Anyway, people have previously noticed and looked at this book and said, I can't make a thing in here. I just don't understand the directions. Honey child, I realize people nowadays don't really get into cooking. Could have fooled me. I mean, the Food Network? Come on, people. Separate the eggs. Take the yolks. Do this. But what do I do with the white? Oh, dear Lord. If it isn't mentioned ever again, you put it in a different recipe. You save it for later, for another recipe. Put it in a moderate oven. Bake in a moderate oven for 12 to 15 minutes. Well, what does a moderate oven mean? Well, for the experienced people amongst us, a slow or cool oven would be 200 to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. A moderate oven is between 300 and 400 degrees Fahrenheit, about 185 Celsius. And a fast or hot oven would be above 400. Of course, your broiler is set at 500 to start, so now you know where you are. A moderate oven is 350 degrees. That's all it is. No need to get upset. And yes, a tablespoonful is a tablespoonful. Just like the little measuring devices. They had them back then. The little cups, the little spoons. Yes, they had those back then. So it's entirely possible to read the book and cook. They give you the list of ingredients. And then they say, put this in such and such an order. If they don't mention the egg whites again, then you save the egg whites. If they just use the egg whites and don't mention the yolks, you save the yolks. because you can't get the one without the other. So, if it doesn't mention the one part you don't need again, you just save that for later, okay? So that's all. I mean, it's not that hard. It's not that difficult. And when they say, put it on ice until needed, shove it in the refrigerator if it's meant to be custard that you're getting, or shove it in the freezer if it's meant to be ice cream. Put it on ice. Cool it. If it means shove it to the back of the stove and let it burble away, you turn it on low and you shove it in the back on the back burner. Yes, and just let it simmer away for however long it takes. Then we just toss everything into the crock pot and crank it up, and there you go. Ignore it for hours. It's easy to translate. So, A Sweet Life, don't get so whacked out when you read an old cookery book. It really isn't hard. Anyway, the lady's got her opinions, and it was a lot of fun to read her notes. Her menu is somewhat strict. Oh my, boy is it strict. You may have 20 grams of carbs on your abstinence day. And don't try to snitch on the side. Yes, it's like Olga the bartender. What? You need another beer? Oh, does your wife know? Yes, I got that story from my husband who actually ran across Olga. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Please go out and have another fun episode with your books. As books, as you can see, are great things to have. Thanks for watching, and please come again.